welcome to Village in Motion this December 26, 2019. Folks, I'm telling you, that's getting to be interesting. There aren't too many days left. In fact, there's only 5 days left this year. So enjoy all of them. And I hope that your enjoyment is anticipation of what our resident council is going to be doing next year. And I have the 3 officers of the resident council with me this morning here in the studio. We're very glad to have Betty Christman, who is the council president, Phil Scianna, who is the vice president, he's the secretary this year, and Ron Paterson, who is the vice president this year, this coming year. And we're very glad to have all 3 of you with us.
Thank you.
Betty, what's going to be happening with the council this coming year?
Well, it looks like it's going to be a busy year. This 2019 was a very, very busy year as far as I was concerned. I just seemed to never have any downtime. And I'm anticipating that next year is going to be the same. Yeah. We've just had a very, very busy time, and we've got, I think, some interesting plans for what we want to do next year.
Well, you've accomplished a lot of things with all the busy times that you've had this year.
I think we have, yes.
Yeah? So what are some of the things you plan on doing next year?
Well, one of the big things is to relook the focus of some of the committees. Oh. You know, we've had the same focus for quite a few years. We want to just look at, are there other areas within, you know, their area of responsibility, if you will, what they can do. And look at new ways they can help the residents. You know, find things to do, help in making changes that are needed here at Green Spring.
That's great. Well, you've got 2 excellent officers sitting next to you.
Yes.
That are going to help you do that, right?
Yes, they are.
And would you like to introduce them more than I have?
Well, Phil is our newest. He's been here, I think, maybe 2 years at most.
13 months.
Oh, 13 months.
He's
wow.
a newbie.
But he was the secretary of Resident Life last year and did a wonderful job. And when we needed someone to fill in this position here, I asked Phil, and he just thought about it a minute and said, sure, I can do that.
That's great.
So,
very good.
And Ron, of course, is familiar to a lot of people here. He was on the council 2 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, he was the secretary for quite a number of years.
Right.
So we're welcoming him back, and I think the 3 of us putting our heads together should be able to come up with some good things going next year.
Well, one of the things that the 3 of you will be doing, and Ron and you both have already experienced it, is having bi-weekly meetings with Chandra, right?
Yes, that's right.
And you're able to have that one-on-one with Chandra and learn what's going on from an administrative side and what the desires are from the corporate world.
Yeah. That will continue, and it has been very, very effective, I think, this past year. We meet as an executive committee the 1st and 3rd Thursday of the month with Chandra, or one of the AEDs, or it could be all 3, or, you know, 2 of the 3 or whatever. And then the 2nd and 4th Thursdays, I meet with Chandra one-on-one, which is very valuable for me because we can sit there and exchange things. She especially will talk about things that they're planning to do in the future, and we just have some very, very good discussions.
Very good, very good. How are you going to go about getting ready for 2020?
That has been, we've been doing that since the November elections. We started out with the elections. We had 6 vacancies to fill. We had 6 candidates for the positions. So they were automatically, you know, elected, if you will. The first thing that I had to do is look at where to place these as liaisons to the committees. And it was fairly easy because most of them were staying on the council, and because I like consistency and continuity, I wanted to keep the same chairs and liaisons on as best I could, which I did. And then those that were, you know, vacant, I just found people who had a likely fit.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So
well, you have a lot more committee members potentially, right?
Oh my goodness. We had 173 residents volunteer to be on our committees.
Wow.
And that was a 50 resident plus from the year before in 2018.
Right.
So we've had all of our committees are full. We really can't take any more
Right.
because we've got space limitations for the rooms they can meet in. So.
Exactly.
But we always have a few people who come to the first meeting and decide maybe this isn't for me and drop out. Hopefully they will all stay on. And I think the chairs and the liaisons have been meeting already just to talk about what they want to do in the new year with their committees. And I think they've got some very good ideas for how to get people involved and how to continue their involvement throughout the year.
And all the people who are on committees have been notified in regards to it and which committee they're going to be on and the times and all those kinds of things,
yes.
right?
The residents should have been notified either by a letter in their cubby or an email.
Okay.
That they've been on a committee. If someone has not, please get in touch with me.
Okay.
Either
immediately, huh?
Yeah, well, email or telephone, and I will resolve that issue.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
Yep.
You mentioned space limitations. What's going to happen with the space? Are you using one room for everybody, or are you going to break things up, or what?
Well, we've broken it up a little bit. The medical center committee, for instance, is meeting in Dogwood Commons in their meeting room because that's just a better fit for what they do and for the staff members who come to their meetings. Most of the other committees will hold their committee meetings in the Village Square classroom.
Oh, okay.
And, we've all scheduled, so there are no conflicts.
Right.
That's the primary meeting place, yeah,
Okay.
Village Square classroom.
I don't know how many people know what the chairs actually do and what the committees actually do. What's the responsibility of a liaison, a committee chair, a committee member?
The liaison is simply that, a liaison between the council and their committee.
Okay.
They work very closely with the chair in setting up the agenda, recommending new activities or new focuses that the committee can take. But that's about as far as the liaison goes.
Okay.
He or she also gives a very brief report to the committee members just to let them know what the resident council is doing.
Okay.
Things we're discussing, new activities that are coming in, those type of things. The chair is the actual leader of the committee, and that is something that is very, very important for committee members and the liaisons to remember. That's the chair's committee. They're the ones who set the tone. They lead that meeting.
Right.
And coordinate closely with the liaison, but it's the chair's responsibility.
And how are the chairs selected?
The chairs, I did things a little differently this year because in the past it's been, if you were the chair the past year, you just continued on. There was some friction between several individuals. I'm not naming names or committees or anything. They just didn't seem to do the coordination they needed to do. And I felt it was very important that the liaison and the chair be able to work together. So when I appointed the liaisons, I said, hey, I want you to take this list of residents who have wanted to be on your committee and find the chair. So I gave them that responsibility.
Oh,
it took a load off my back.
Right.
I've got a lot of other things that have to be done. So I felt that was the easiest thing to do. And then once the chair was selected, the liaison and the chair looked at that list of residents who wanted to be on their committee and say, okay, oh, maybe not this one, let's see if they want to go to another committee.
Right.
So I let them be responsible for building that cohesive community, or committee, if you will, that will work well together. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, sounds good. So you've really taken the leadership.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think.
All right.
I hope.
And Ron, you're here. You are second in charge of the council. What's going to happen with vice presidency?
Well, serve as a helper and help her get done what needs to be done, fill in, for example, if there's a meeting she can't attend, that would be next in line to do that. So that will be primarily.
Okay.
And probably the one activity that most folks probably realize is the responsibility of the vice president is the listening post. Now,
you brought a show and tell, right?
once you're a teacher, you never. I'm sure folks have seen this. This is the listening post. The post and the ear to listen. This is an activity that was started a couple of years ago and has been run in such a way that at least once a month, this and a couple of council members show up and sit through a couple hours at supper time to listen to comments.
Right.
Comments come in two varieties. There are the happy ones, and things are great, and they're the other kind. But they all are important. These are then put on a spreadsheet, and they're distributed to the council, and action is taken. And if action doesn't show up in reports and so forth, then questions have to be asked why. A lot of times, those comments can be stifled with pointing out lack of information. And you can do that in a couple ways. One of the things that I don't do is say something like, well, yeah, I could agree with you, but if I did, we'd both be wrong. But can't do it that way. You have to smooth over it. But yeah, the comments are very, very important. But I want to remind folks that maybe another way, there are three primary committees. Most of the comments come from one of these three committees, dining. These are on every dining table. And if you have a comment, since this listing post is...
Hold it back up so things...
Okay, since the listing post is only going to be at your dining area once a month. And by the way, the first one is, these are going to be the latter part of the month. The listing post's been handled in a couple of different ways. It was handled 3 consecutive days, and last year it was always on Wednesdays, the first 3 Wednesdays. This year...
And what's going to happen this year?
This year, we're going to sort of come up with a compromise, both. They'll be on the same week, but it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The first one will be scheduled for the 20th of January.
All right.
And these will all be published on Channel 6, of course. But anyhow, this comment card probably would be received by those who have the power to make changes or to receive the compliment probably quicker than coming through us. But if you feel more comfortable doing a listing post. So dining is one. General service. I spent last year as secretary of the general service, and I'm still amazed at what that committee does, what the responsibility is. And if you, and of course we got a few comment cards because of things
hold
going
as steady as you can there.
Because of things going on here, all the construction and so forth. And again,
you can take it down.
A lot of it's good. Some of it is maybe not so good, and my wife and I live right in the midst of all that, so I have had both ends of it. But there again, by the way, the comment cards for dining, there are boxes at the dining venues to put those. These cards for general service are at all front desks, and the box to submit them are there. And those boxes are emptied every day or two, so it's fairly quick.
All right.
And then medical center.
All right.
Medical center, these cards have changed a little bit. This is one that Erickson came up with. At one time it was thought maybe you could just make a general comment card for all the committees, and that is just not realistic. And these cards, there is a slot for them where the mailboxes are. The one at Town Center, I'm not sure it's been moved yet or not, but the new mailboxes, if they haven't moved it, I'm sure probably done sometime this week. So if you want to fill those out and also talk to us, it can be done either way. But
sounds good. So in other words, you've got the resource for us to sit face to face with you.
Right.
Or fill out one of the different comment cards.
Right.
And you said that the listening post will always be advertised on GSV-TV.
Yes, not Channel 6.
Channel 1960, right?
1960, yeah.
The holdover.
1962, yeah. As well as other places as well. They'll be on the bulletin boards as well.
Very good.
It'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, usually about the 3rd week of the month.
Okay, sounds good. Well, Phil, you going to keep track of all this stuff?
I hope so. There's a lot to keep track of and a lot of minutes and reports and everything. But what we're going to try and do most importantly is to increase the residents' awareness, not only what the council is doing, but what they're accomplishing and what they have accomplished.
Right.
Beyond the typical same group of people that come to the general session meetings.
Right.
That's 70, maybe 80 people, maybe a little more, but we have far more residents than that.
Right.
So I'm going to start to post summaries of the general session minutes on the bulletin board.
Wonderful.
Within the space limitations. I think I have between 9 and 12 frames on each bulletin board, depending on which ones they are.
Okay.
It's a little awkward right now, but I'll be posting what the meat of the general session and in some cases extracts from the council committee meetings themselves as well. Do that once a month. Of course, that's in addition to the neighborhood notebooks, the binders that we'll have in each of the lobby areas of the 3 community centers.
So we're going to go back to using those notebooks and having them
Yes, we are.
available.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And I'll be pointing out in the summaries and on the bulletin board, you know, if they're interested, where to look in the notebook.
Okay.
You know, that should work out very well. We're also going to be posting additional information on our activities and accomplishments in the villagers. That's been going on a lot already, so we'll continue with that. And we're going to also keep updated the Village Bridge archives of the resident council minutes, and for the committee minutes as well. They will continue to be posted just as soon as I get them on the on the Village Bridge, so people can go and see, read the PDF files, and do what they need from there.
You know, you mentioned the Village Bridge. Are you going to be able to put anything on My Erickson? On the, am I using the right word?
Yeah, I don't believe so, simply because the resident council is not something that My Erickson sponsors,
Right.
or,
Yeah.
you know, they're supportive of having the councils, but there is no plan to do that as of
I was just thinking,
now.
because a lot of us, you know, we use My Erickson. We always look for our meal count on
Yeah,
it.
me too. That's
Yeah.
right. First thing every day.
And we look at the scroll on there rather than
Yeah.
watching it on TV.
Yeah, same thing.
So I was just thinking if there's a way to do that.
Yeah.
I think it would be difficult to do the archiving that we have done, because we have archives on the bridge now back, oh golly, 15 years at least.
Yeah.
Wow, good.
So, yeah.
Okay. Sounds
Yeah. And something to look into. You know, there may be some place there, but right now we don't have a resident council icon, I don't think. No. But there may be some opportunity for that as well, because My Erickson has become an increased use.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was thinking about in regards to that.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, the last thing that we're going to be doing this year is we're going to completing the archiving of the council records going back as many years as we have them. We're digitizing them, so they're going to be searchable for us. So if we wanted to see what the historical track was on a certain issue, we should be able to do that rather than turning literally thousands of pages of the paper copies.
Well, there actually should be 20 years worth of them.
Yeah.
Because the council started in 99.
Yeah.
1999.
And we have 20-some notebooks sitting in our council office with all of these paper records that you go through page by page if you're looking.
But I mean, I think it's a wonderful thing to finally archive them, because before they were all just in a closet, in a drawer, a file cabinet, whatever.
They're becoming discolored, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
You know, I mean, the paper's starting to turn tan, so that's a sign when you need to do something to preserve it and make it more usable.
Since you are the secretary, are you going to be working with the communication committee?
As much as necessary, yeah.
I was just thinking the relationship here.
Definitely, and anything they can do to help, or again, spread the word about what we're doing and what we're accomplishing, by all means, yes.
Okay. Very good. Well, it sounds like you guys have got a plan.
We do.
Yeah.
A couple of things that I didn't mention if we have time.
Oh, yes.
And speaking of communications, I've been talking with Chandra about some different things that communications can do to help staff and management, and also get more word out to the people. And we've got a couple of ideas, things that I've discussed with her that are a positive thing, I think. And one is, for instance, the resident handbook.
Yes.
I find it very difficult to find things in the resident handbook because the table of contents is there, but it doesn't tell you where to look for things.
Right.
So I have asked Chandra if I can have the communications committee in January put together a sampling of an index that would go at the end and would have all the important terms that you're looking for, like pet procedures or dress code or, you know, whatever, and have all the pages listed that you would find that term on. And I think it would be something that the residents would find useful.
Yes.
One other thing that we're going to do in talking about the listening post and the comments that come in with resident issues and complaints and things, Dave Kaiser, who is liaison to General Services, wants to start tracking all of these actions so that we know what is happening and we know the status, and we can provide that to the residents via, you know, an article in the Villager or something on the bridge, you know, in the general sessions that we have once a month. And I'd like to do that with all the other committees too, especially those that you get the comments on, which are primarily dining services and general services. But the residents want to know that they have been heard and what action has been taken. So that's something we're going to start looking at how to do that.
And they want to know the council really is doing something for them.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, we won't be able to contact residents, you know, kind of one-on-one, but at least to get the word out through all the various communicative needs that would let them know what is happening.
Because I was just thinking in regards to all the things that happened before Christmas, in regards to the construction and starting work early in the morning, dark 30 situations. It would have been nice to have a heads up that this may be happening and for everybody to know about it, because when the big trucks and big equipment starts revving up, regardless of where you live, you hear it.
Right, and even with our new windows that really, you know, muffle that sound. I mean, it just gets through one way or the other.
Yeah, really good. What about all the things from Holloran Survey? Are we going to really get to where we can understand what's going on with that survey and what's going to happen with the results of it?
The results of that, when I talked to Chandra last week, she should be receiving sometime before the end of, she should be receiving them before the end of the year. The written comments that the residents put in, the three of us will be able to review in the admin office. We can sit there and read them, take some notes. We can't make copies or anything. But at least we will be aware of some of the concerns, and we can, you know, prioritize them as to what they are, and then plan on what we can do, what kind of plan of action we can take to take corrective action or whatever is needed.
At one point in the past, over the last 11 years, we actually had forums after the surveys were done to discuss the action plans. Any thoughts about going back to that?
That hasn't been discussed at all. And we perhaps need to bring that up with Chandra and recommend it.
Because we wound up having about 400 residents who attended those forums, and the people who attended felt like they had input to what the action plan would be in regards to it.
That may be something we can recommend doing.
One of the other things I understand that you're going to be doing, you're going to be looking at the council's constitution and bylaws and all that kind of good stuff. So much fun.
The Constitution is from 2014 and has not been reviewed, and it needs to be, and updated as needed. In 2018, we reorganized the Policy and Procedures Manual, and it was effective last January 2019. And there are some things we need, some tweaks we need to make. And we especially noticed those during the election process this past year, that we need to just articulate some things a little bit better, maybe change a few procedures. So we will be reviewing it. It's something we do every year.
Sounds good. Sounds like you guys are really going to do things that the residents can say, hey, the council's doing this. They've listened to us, you know, in regards to
We hope so.
Yeah. What can the residents do to help the council and help you to obtain the goals that you have set?
Understand that the group is an advisory group. We can advise and to advise we need information from the comments. But then there also has to be an understanding, just because somebody makes a comment does not mean that we can snap our finger and have it done. As a matter of fact, a lot of times it can't be done.
Right.
With the construction going on around here, I know there are folks that say, well, they should be doing something at Village Square or something. Well, maybe that's a good idea. But when the repositioning comes here next, that may not be possible because of plans already. But the individual that made the suggestion needs to know that.
Yeah.
So they have a responsibility for providing us with information so we can advise, and we have a responsibility of getting back to them to explain, yeah, it's a good idea, watch for it, or probably can't be done right now, or maybe never, and here's why.
Yeah, I think it's really so important. Just prior to the show, I was talking to an individual in General Services and asking a question about when is such and such going to happen, and I was told, well, that's coming, and this is probably when it's going to come. But you need to understand this is the reason we can't do it now. We can't do it until then. And it's like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. I did not know the reasoning ahead of time, and so it's really nice to know the reasoning.
And even right now with the construction, worst time of year to do construction outside. And an awful lot of it has to do with placing cement and that sort of stuff. And, you know, watch out for rain, have to have above freezing temperatures for a certain number of hours. And so for somebody to say, well, then give me a schedule. You know, when are you going to get done? Not possible.
I think one of the most important things that residents can do, though, is they have an issue, they have a complaint, give us some recommendations for how to solve it.
Don't just complain, come up with an alternative.
Come up with something that is an alternative, an option to look at, something that is, you know, thought out.
Yeah, because I mean, we got 2,000 people. There's a lot of brain power here, a lot of experience in different things, and it would be nice if people would share what they know and what they have seen and how things have been done in regards to it. Sounds like you got something to do.
Yes, we do. I don't think we'll have downtimes.
I don't think so.
We don't have enough time.
Not too many.
But it's nice to hear that you're going to redo the Constitution, or at least look at it. I remember when 2014 rolled around, I no longer served on the council. But yeah, to get new material, to really look at things fresh. And what I'm hearing you say is all three of you really want things to be resident-driven, and you want things fresh, and you want input to administration in regards to it. And we appreciate that.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah, as residents, the residents appreciate knowing the council is really doing something for the residents. Okay.
Great.
Well, we thank all of you for being here today. And remember, you're always welcome back. And every month, we have a full show devoted to the resident council, which I think is very, very nice. That our GSV-TV channel 1960 provides the time for that to occur, and encourage everybody to tune in and watch us.
Good. And I think we'll see you again in January.
Well, we hope so. We definitely hope so. Thanks again.